rewards that they have, get the loan because it's there, and you may even recognize some of the businesses that they have worked with. They'll talk to you about what is their mission, and then, of course, the team that works hard at starting your business, helping you to start your business through financing and counseling. And also, you will once again see other businesses. So if business is what you all about, then the Climb Fund is where you want to go. Now, specifically for Mr. Scarden, today you will see that he is the Director of Development and Operations, Mr. Sam Scarden. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have right here. So tell us about yourself, Sam.
Good thing, Daryl. Well, my name's Sam Scarden, and grew up here in the Low Country, and went off to college over in Atlanta, Georgia, and then spent some time in Washington, D.C. I had the honor and the privilege of working with Congressman John Lewis when I was first going to college in his district in Atlanta, and then worked on his staff in Capitol Hill. And he created this sense of mission and justice that he spent his life working towards, and I think everyone who had the pleasure of knowing him was inspired to do the same in their lives. So, I've spent most of my life since then trying to gain the skills and the experience and have the impact in the community that really can change the direction of our community, of our state, and you do that by changing individual people's lives, giving them opportunities they wouldn't otherwise have. We do that through financing at the Climb Fund. We do that by lending to folks that can't get bank loans, that have a history of being discriminated against by for-profit banks. So if you are turned away from a bank and still have a great business idea, have a good business plan, but maybe there's something about your proposal or your background that a traditional bank didn't like, that's why we exist, is to still give you that opportunity to pursue a business, to create jobs, to build wealth. And honestly, I think one of the most important ways you can have an impact here, and that's what we try to do at the Climb Fund, and I'm proud to be part of it.
Okay, now tell me, Sam, what specifically is your job, your position?
Yes, absolutely, Daryl. So I'm our Director of Development and Operations. Two separate things. Development is how we raise our money. So we're a loan fund. We have $13 million in community development loans out right now. We had to get that money from somewhere. But the biggest, most important part of my job is I talk to funders. Usually there are banks that fund us. We do a lot of the community work that banks are required to do, but sometimes don't have the expertise or willingness to do themselves. So through something called the Community Reinvestment Act, they can give us a large amount of money, and we can lend it to the folks that don't meet their criteria. So we raise money from banks. We raise money from governments. There are a lot of government programs that support what we do. And then we raise money from individuals. There are tax credits you can get in the state of South Carolina for supporting organizations like ours. So as development director, my job is to pursue those three types of funding, make sure we can get it, so we have the money to lend to businesses when you need it.
Okay, what's the second part of your job? Is development and
operations. Operations is making the trains run on time. We have 204 community development loans out there, and you might think making a loan is something that is a short-term proposition. You apply, we look at your application, we modify it, make some work with you, and we make you the loan. And a lot of people might think that's where it ends. It's definitely not, though. Most of our loans are 3, 5, 7-year loans. That means you're going to be a client of ours for a long time. So the logistical side of making sure you're doing well, making your payments. If you ever have a modification or anything you need for the loan, you need to refinance it. There's a lot of work that goes with making these long-term loans to people. And then also one of the great services we provide is we do lots of small business coaching. So it's not just that we give you the opportunity through the capital you need to start your business. We have experts on accounting and HR and IT and industry-specific experts like food and beverage, social media consultants. So we do a lot of coaching our borrowers and small businesses to make sure they're successful. And they are successful. We only have a 3% delinquency rate on our loans. So even though we're lending to the folks banks turned away, our delinquency rate is actually lower than theirs. A lot of it's because we provide so many services and work hands-on. But the operational side of that, Daryl, is that there's a lot of work that's involved with serving so many clients and making sure everyone's, we're managing that workload well, and that's what we do on the operations side.
So now let me see if I get this straight. You've got 200 and, did you say 40? 204 loans that currently exist. And it is your purview to ensure that you stay in touch with each of those and whatever assistance they need, that you help them with that.
Yes, sir. So I don't actually provide the help. So we have a whole coaching team that does that.
Right.
And I actually don't shake them down for the payments either, or refinancing.
Well, I thought that's what I was wondering why you was carrying that baseball bat. Okay, that's just to play baseball.
Exactly.
Okay,
which I am a big baseball fan.
Oh, okay. All right.
The Washington Nationals, my team
I see
here.
You got that big W on there. Okay.
Exactly. But no, it's my job to make sure we're managing our operation well. So that we have the resources in place when a borrower needs to do each of those things. So we have a whole team of coaches that I make sure is in place and they're ready when our borrowers need them. And then, a whole team of people to service your loan too that we keep in place to make sure that's available and ready.
Okay, so as we look at your function as the operational guy, if I have a problem or I have a situation that requires me to get some outside professional help, as you mentioned, say accounting, I'm setting up my accounting process and I don't know how to do it. Do I contact you and then you contact one of the coaches, or they contact one of the coaches directly? How do you fit into that?
Absolutely. So we absolutely, they reach out to me, reach out to anyone on our staff. And we're a small team. We only have 8 full-time employees. And we all work closely and well together. So I'd say if you go to our website, like you were showing a minute ago.
Cousin, bring up that website again, please.
If you that our team page that you were showing it, there it is right there. All of those names, if you click on them, that'll bring up an email to each one of us. And so you can reach all of us that way, and we can all point you in the right person. But to answer your specific question, if you need accounting help, reach out to me or our director of client success there, Charlie O'Brien. He's sort of our lead business director coach, and he can either coach you directly or he can put you in touch with one of our contracted experts.
Okay. All right. So now let me ask this. I'm going to throw out some names, and you can tell me. Well, where do you get your coaches from?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually hiring for 2 right now. We have 2 postings up for contracted coaches. We're looking for people with the expertise that our borrowers need. So for our accounting experts, we have a woman who runs an accounting firm. Who's willing to spend time at a discounted rate. We pay the bill, so the coaching is free to you.
My, aren't y'all generous?
Exactly. So we will pick up the tab, and she gives us a discounted rate to work with our borrowers. So she has an accounting firm of her own. On the website, we have a food and beverage consultant posted, social media consultant posted. If you scroll to the top there, might be the way to see it.
Let's go back up to the top.
There
our team.
See that black
social
bar
media support and food and beverage consultant.
Right. So what we're looking for is someone with a lot of experience in the food and beverage industry. Who has maybe started a restaurant or 2 or managed a few restaurants.
Who
could have a lot of advice and words of wisdom for a lot of our borrowers who are the very beginning phase of that process that they've been through once or twice already. And then social media-wise, similar concept. Someone who has run a social media account for small businesses or had a small business with very successful social media accounts. So the idea is we're trying to connect our borrowers with the resources, the tools, and the expertise that will help make them successful.
Okay, like this other couple of organizations, do you guys put on webinars and seminars to do training as well?
We do, absolutely. So we one of the great things that we have 204 loans. I think one of the most exciting and interesting parts of what we do is we network with our borrowers. We get our borrowers together in the same room because we have electricians and HVAC repair people and landscapers and food trucks, and it's fascinating when you get them all together. All of a sudden, they become each other's clients. They're sharing stories. They're sharing tips.
Oh, my goodness.
So the knowledge that happens just from getting them together is really important. But healthcare is another huge challenge for small businesses, and
Mm-hmm.
we're working on a healthcare webinar for all of them to be able to join and understand the resources available to
Okay.
make sure that they have access to healthcare for themselves and their employees, especially for small organizations.
Now, this gathering of your borrowers, I know COVID is here, so you probably aren't doing it now, but in the future, what are you looking at doing this at? I mean, y'all are located on Race Street, so
Sure.
I know you got this big room in the back. Is that where you do it, or you rent some banquet space and bring them all in?
It's both. So we have hosted things at our facility, which is great. It's accessible. It's right at the corner of King and Race Street.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
on the Upper Peninsula, easy to get to. It's right off I-26. So we've hosted things there. We got a great space for it. But we have this network of really exciting and interesting borrowers. One of our borrowers is called Outslide In. It's a kids jungle gym out at Citadel Mall. It's a big playground, but it's indoors, so it's Outslide In.
Okay.
The
Instead of outside in, it's outslide in.
Outslide In.
Right.
It's clever.
Okay. Yeah.
Great facility and childcare there.
Okay.
So we've had events out there where after work, all our borrowers who have kids can get their kids together. They bring them over to the playground at Citadel Mall, and then we can have the event in one of their conference spaces that they usually use for birthday parties.
Okay.
Or something. So same. We have restaurants that are willing to give their space. The exciting thing about what we do, and I think the really important thing about what we do, is we engage our borrowers every step of the way, and that gives us resources we wouldn't otherwise have, like great meeting spaces that come with big playgrounds and things that make it easy.
And who doesn't love a playground?
Exactly.
I'm looking for one now.
Hey, if you've got kids and you're trying to figure out how do I go to this meeting after work, then doing it at a place with a playground is pretty good.
Okay. Now, I know you mentioned that you guys pick up the tab for the consultants to consult with your borrowers, so there's no cost to them for that at all.
Correct.
And then when you do y'all do like general? I know you said y'all do like a meet and greet. I'm calling it that. But at this meet and greet, what else goes on besides maybe some drinking, some card swapping and stuff like that? I mean, from your side, is there any information put out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there's a different theme for each one. I mean, sometimes we'll have people talk about successful borrowers. So some of the borrowers who we say have graduated, they've fully paid off their loan, will come back and kind of share their words of wisdom with our current borrowers and our new borrowers. Sometimes, like I mentioned, the healthcare seminar, we have a very specific subject that we're trying to cover. It's a wide. Sometimes we'll do an industry-specific one. Like we have so many food and beverage borrowers that we'll try to have a panel of just food and beverage experts to talk with it. Everything they need to know, even from just compliance. How do you get past your DHEC certification? Make sure you're in compliance with all the health and safety codes for restaurants. There's a huge amount of information that small business owners need when they're getting started. That's what we try to think. What do they need to know and provide those answers.
Okay, now we've been kind of talking about people who are already clients of yours. Let's kind of shift gear. How, if I'm not a client of yours and I've seen your website, what do I need to do in order to become a borrower of your fund?
That's a great question. So, a couple of things. Like I said, our mission is access to capital for folks who have been denied it. So, you do want to apply you want to apply at a bank first. Their interest rates are going to be cheaper, and we, by definition, can only lend to you if you've been turned away from them. So, if you want to take your business plan, take your proposal, and go to a bank and see if they'll lend to you. You don't want to try to get declined. You want them to lend to you if they will. Our saying is, if a bank will lend to you, you should take that loan. And if a bank will not lend to you is when you should come to us. So your first stop should be a bank, and you want to have your business plan ready to go. You're going to need a lot of documentation. You're going to need your taxes from 3 to 5 years in the past. If the business is already existing, you're going to need the financial records of the business, and if it's a new business idea, you're you're going to need a very detailed business plan that has some very accurate projections based in reality. And I say based in reality because we've seen the business plan plenty of times. It says, I'm going to open my doors and make $5 million next year.
Exactly, yeah.
You want to look at the similar businesses in the area, see how they've done, figure out, where your clients are, how you're going to find them, how you're going to let them know about it. Build a good business plan. We don't help with business planning. That's just we help folks once they're already our borrowers. We do have a great network of referrals. We can help you develop a business plan. Small Business Development Center is a big one. SBDC. We've got a link to it on our website. SCORE is another one. It's a business mentoring organization. There's one. Chambers of Commerce are very good places to get business planning resources. So you want to develop a very good business plan. You want to take it to a bank, and you want that bank to lend to you. And if they don't, that's when you give us a call and say, hey, I've got this great business plan, but they won't lend to me. Can you guys look at the application? That's when we're happy to do it. That whole checklist I just mentioned is on our site. It's climbfund.org/apply. And when Daryl was showing you the site just a minute ago, there's a big green apply for a loan button in the top right corner.
Right here. Cousin, bring this up, please. Right here. Apply for the loan. And if you on it.
Click on it, that'll tell you all kinds of things you need to. Exactly. And then you can see some of our great borrowers there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got an application checklist before you apply. We've got some links to some very good resources underneath it. And then once you're ready to apply, we actually even have an application workshop that I should have mentioned. Another green button there that's very useful if you want to spend about an hour listening to one of our loan officers just walk you through the process. You can join them live Tuesdays at 10 a.m. By clicking that link at the bottom there. And then once you are ready to submit that application, that's where you go to that middle column. We have the application itself. We have the application in Espanol. Because actually, many of our borrowers are Spanish speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, one of the things we're very proud of on our staff, too, is we have 3 fluent Spanish speakers on staff. We've found that in trying to serve folks who are turned away from traditional financing, they're disproportionately minority and disproportionately Hispanic as well. So we find ourselves serving a lot of Hispanic businesses in the area, a lot of Black-owned businesses in the area, a lot of women-owned businesses. So, we really are trying to make that difference. For any means necessary, and one of the reasons we have the multilingual application on there.
Very good, very good. Okay, now you've covered a lot about once we've given the money out and how we can best prepare you to be successful with that. Now I'm going to go back to the beginning of your first job, which is to get the funding.
Yes, absolutely. We need to raise some money.
Okay. How, without giving away any trade secrets, how was that done? And again, tell us why that's done.
Exactly. So in order to have a loan fund where you have $13 million in loans out there, you need to raise a lot of money to be able to have it in your pocket so you can lend it to folks who need it.
Right.
A couple ways. One is, like I said, banks are under a requirement to support organizations like ours. It should tell you something about the banking industry. We have great partners in the banking industry. I don't want to beat up on them too much, but I will say that Community Reinvestment Act, CRA, requires banks either lend equitably or write large checks to organizations that do. They can fulfill that requirement one of 2 ways. They can do it themselves or they can pay us to do it. And almost every bank in America would rather write the check to us than do it themselves. So we approach a lot of banks. A lot of banks have CRA offices. They hire entire teams of people to figure out the right organizations to lend to fulfill their community lending requirements. So we approach a lot of banks. Like I said, we have a lot of government applications. I spend way too many nights writing government grants.
Oh my God.
Something that, you ask about our team, and that's one thing that we might hire some contractors to start doing, because I lost some years on my life writing government grants. And then individual investors and local foundations. The Coastal Community Foundation is a great partner of ours, one of the leading philanthropic organizations in the And the state of South Carolina, like I said, also will incentivize a contribution to us through tax credit. So we approach a lot of high wealth individuals who are interested in supporting this with their dollars. It's actually, they can lend money to us. They don't have to give money to us. We'll pay it back to them eventually. But while we're holding the money, they get a credit on their state taxes. So that's who we're talking to when we're trying to raise money. Individuals, governments, and I should mention also, it's not just federal government. City of Charleston has a great relationship with us, great history with us. A lot of the money we lend out either came from or through the City of Charleston. And as we're growing our footprint, we're lending in 3 new counties. We're also setting up partnerships with local governments in the new areas. So we have a great partnership with the City of Goose Creek that we started last year to support businesses in Goose Creek recovering from the pandemic. So we kind of try to partner with the local municipalities in each place because we are providing a great service for them. We're making sure that businesses on their main streets stay open, that people who live there have a place to shop there, people who live there have a place to work there.
Man. All right, cousin, leave up this 2-shot here now because we fitting to roll things on and we need to have the 2-shot like you got it right now. Okay. Now, Mr. Sam is a very modest guy. You know, I think it's because of that time he spent with the guy who's always in good trouble, Mr. John Lewis. Now, let's take a look. You're about to go into business. You're going to need the lifeblood of business. The lifeblood of business is finance, okay? You also need to have some understanding and knowledge about the business you're about to open. So now they are going to offer you funding, but before that, they want to make sure that you know what the hell you're doing and that you understand, if not completely to some degree, what it's going to take to get the funds. They're not in business to just give away money, okay? You have to qualify for it. Now, they're going to point you in the directions in which you need to go in order to qualify for the funds. It's up to you. Please don't think that they're going to just give you the money and do the work for you. No, that's not going to be how it is. So let's take a look now at there are, in starting a business, a number of sources in which you can get funding from your friends, from your family, save your own money, run up your credit card, or try to go to a bank and get the money, or go to the Climb Fund once you qualify to get the money. But they have to get the money from someplace in order to loan to you. Now, Sam has gone through a whole list of people that contributes to the funds that's available for you who qualify. Now, there is this senator from Massachusetts named Elizabeth Warren. Some of you probably heard her name before because she ran for president last year. Well, what Sam was telling you is that these banks have to contribute to funds like the Climb. Elizabeth was all over them a couple of months ago because, see, these bank CEOs have to go in front of the Banking and Finance Committee at the U.S. Senate. And so Elizabeth was asking them, what monies are you loaning and contributing so that small and minority businesses can have access to capital? Because, you know, if you run in J.P. Morgan, they ain't want to talk to you about no $5,000 loan. That costs them too much in processing fee. So they rather you go to a smaller entity. Well, that's where the Climb Fund comes into. So JP and all them other big Wall Street banks, they write checks for the Climb Fund so that the Climb Fund can write a check to you. But once again now, don't misunderstand it here. We ain't giving away nothing. You got to qualify, but if you do qualify, we got the money for you. So that's where the funds come from. So you got the big banks, and you have the smaller funds, and for whichever one you qualify, they are willing to help you get the funds. Now, I hope we've cleared that up for you and made it as crystal as clear can be. So now, I am going to let Mr. Sam wrap up because, you know, he's got a lot of important things to do. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the audience before we let you go?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. And, you know, Daryl made a lot of great points. One thing I'd say is that another thing that differentiates us from traditional banks is you're not just a number to it. So sometimes folks are turned down, Daryl mentioned, because they're not asking for enough money. Or, that's not a good reason to ask for more money. It's just that a bank sometimes, if you only need $10,000, they're not going to. It's not worth their time. It is worth ours. That's why we exist.
Right.
If you have one ding on your credit that's very explainable, you know, a medical bankruptcy or something that's very common, something that you've shown an ability to understand and recover from. You know, we're subjective. We don't just look at the number on your credit score or the amount of cash in your bank account and make a yes/no decision. We try to look at a holistic picture. We try to look at someone's knowledge of the industry, their experience in the industry. You know, if you do have difficult credit record, is there a decent explanation for that and a reason to think it's not going to happen again? And so that's what our loan officers look at. That's what they spend a lot of time on. So we hear all the time people say, "I can't get a loan. I only got 590 credit score." Well, if there's a good reason for that, if you can explain it well, and if there's reason to believe that it's not going to happen or that it's going to go up from here, we'll still look at your application. We'll still try to work with you. So never think to yourself, "Oh, I can't get a loan. I'm not even going to try." We end up funding lots of people who we sort of had to convince to apply in the first place because they were so sure we were just going to turn them down, and of course we didn't. So, yeah, we look at the whole person and look at the whole application, not just any numbers on the paper.
All right, so Sam, how do we get in contact with you?
So my email address is just sam@climbfund.org. Pretty simple. sam@climbfund.org. Our website is climbfund.org. We are at 2 Race Street, corner of King and Race. And I believe our phone number off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember it, 843-973-9872. It would be at the bottom of the website there.
Bottom of the website.
There we go.
Yeah.
843-973-7298.
Right.
There we go. But once you're on that website, you have the ability to email every person on our staff. And if you don't know the right person to email, we have an info@climbfund.org. You just send it to the general inbox, and we'll figure out what staff member it goes to. So
you filter it to the right person.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. No reason you shouldn't reach out. And we're open Monday through Friday, so come knock on our door, too, if you'd rather just have a meeting in person.
Oh, so y'all are accepting people in person?
We are accepting folks in person. You know, pandemic still going on, so ask that you wear a mask in our office. But the office is open, and we'll try to be safe and stay at a safe distance. But at the end of the day, if you need help starting a business, we're here to help you. You can do that by visiting the office, calling us.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that's familiar with the area, that's the doctor's office, you know, where the heart doctor used to be at. And, you know, one of them is in a little bit of trouble now. So, you know, and the other one is where it's actually at another location. So if you remember the doctor's office, you know where Sam's talking about at number 2 on Race Street. Okay, well, as we said, we only talk to people who know what the hell they're talking about. So as you can conclude from our about to be concluded talk, that's it for today. So, cousin,